Hello friends. What do you get when you mix the unwavering ambition of Capricorn with the wild, untamed energy of the horse from the Chinese Zodiac? You get a force of nature, bold, complex, magnetic, and often misunderstood. The Capricorn horse is not your average human being. They're born leaders, but not always in the traditional sense. They're rebels with a roadmap, lovers with a strategy, dreamers who don't just wish, they plan. Let's take a deep dive into what truly makes the Capricorn born in the year of the horse so fascinating. From their love life to their dark sides, friendships to financial empires, and everything in between. Love, the silent storm. Falling in love with a Capricorn horse isn't a gentle ride. It's a wild gallop into the unknown, a heart-racing fusion of grounded realism and fiery unpredictability. There's a storm beneath their skin, even when their face shows perfect calm. With them, love is not a game, it's a strategic risk, a high-stakes journey through trust, control, desire, and emotional depth. You don't enter their world through charm alone, you earn your way in through resilience, integrity, and unwavering emotional presence. At first glance, the Capricorn side dominates, cool, reserved, observing. They don't chase passion blindly. Their affection isn't scattered carelessly like rose petals. It's locked behind emotional walls built brick by brick from years of caution and discipline. They don't fall for fantasy. They seek alignment, shared values, emotional safety. But don't mistake this restraint for coldness. Beneath that steady Capricorn surface pulses the untamable fire of the horse, raw, impulsive, and craving connection. And when that fire awakens, it doesn't tiptoe, it ignites. Once intrigued, they'll study you, your tone, your patterns, your energy. They want to know what moves you, what unsettles you, what lights your soul. Not because they want to manipulate, but because they're deciding if you're worth opening up to. They crave depth, not performative vulnerability, but soul-level transparency, emotional maturity, the willingness to hold uncomfortable truths in the same breath as affection. Early in the relationship, they might test your strength subtly, not with words, but with emotional distance, vanishing acts, or moments of stony silence. These aren't games, they're stress tests. They want to see, will you panic and push, or will you breathe and wait? Once they trust you, and trust takes time, their love becomes a steady flame. Capricorn horses are deeply devoted, but they express affection through actions more than words. They'll fix your car without being asked. Remember how you like your coffee even when you forget. Rearrange their schedule so you never feel like second priority. Love, for them, is protection, loyalty, and deep emotional investment. They are attuned lovers, patient listeners, and when relaxed, surprisingly affectionate. In private, they're warm, sensual, and intensely present. Every touch is deliberate. Every glance has weight. They don't make love like they're passing time, they make love like they're imprinting on your soul. Their emotional landscape, however, is not without shadow. They are highly sensitive, even if they hide it well. Small betrayals feel like earthquakes. Disrespect feels like disloyalty. And lies? Even small ones? They cut deep. A Capricorn horse will forgive mistakes, but never tolerate betrayal. When their boundaries are violated, they won't scream or chase. They'll simply disappear, like a gate that closes without sound. You'll feel the cold in their silence. Not angry, just done. And once they're done, it's permanent. Their love, when nurtured, is a fortress. But betray that trust, and the doors close forever. To love a Capricorn horse is to accept contradiction. They are independent yet crave emotional intimacy. Practical but romantic in their own way. They will never flood you with sentimentality, but they will anchor you, protect you, build with you. They want a partner who respects their boundaries and supports their dreams. Someone who doesn't flinch at complexity. Who's not afraid to ask the hard questions or sit in silence when needed. With them, love is earned, not stumbled into. It's not fast, not easy, but when it arrives, it's powerful, all-encompassing, and absolutely unforgettable. They don't fall in love often, but when they do, they stay. Not out of convenience, but because they've chosen you. And when a Capricorn horse chooses you, it's not just for now, it's for life. Sex, the unexpected inferno. If you think all Capricorns are conservative in the bedroom, think again. With the wild-hearted horse coursing through their cosmic DNA, The Capricorn horse transforms the stereotype of sexual reservation into something shockingly bold, deeply layered, and often breathtaking. Behind their composed, strategic, and even stoic exterior lives a sensual force that's not easily predicted or easily forgotten. Sex for them is not just about physical connection, it's a high-stakes experience, an emotional storm, a private ritual of power, pleasure, and vulnerability. While Capricorn energy leans toward privacy, discipline, and self-control, the horse craves experimentation, surprise, and the thrill of emotional danger. When these two sides merge, you get a lover who is both methodical and wild, a master of timing, rhythm, and psychological depth. They don't just have sex, they study it, explore it, test its emotional edges. For the Capricorn horse, physical intimacy is not random or recreational. It's a realm where trust is built, roles are explored, and emotional truths emerge wordlessly. Don't expect them to be fast movers. They take their time, especially in the beginning. Just like they're slow to fall in love, they're slow to fully reveal their sexual identity. They will watch you closely, picking up on what excites you, what you hide, what you yearn for but haven't said. They pay attention to your breath, your reactions, even the silence between moments. And when they act, it's precise, deliberate, intentional. They don't aim to impress with theatrics, they aim to penetrate your inner world. One of the most striking elements of their sexual energy is the constant dance between control and surrender. Capricorn horses are natural leaders, and often dominant by default, but only in environments where they feel emotionally safe. They want to orchestrate the experience, to guide it, to read your desires before you speak them. But here's where it gets interesting: if they trust you deeply, they'll reverse roles. They'll allow themselves to be vulnerable, even submissive, not out of weakness, but as an ultimate act of trust. That shift, when it happens, is electric. It's not about roles, it's about connection. They're not fans of one-night stands or meaningless hookups. While the horse brings a flirtatious, impulsive edge, Capricorn's long-game mentality keeps things rooted in purpose. They prefer to build sexual chemistry over time, each encounter deepening the trust, layering in more intensity, exploring fantasies that only emerge when the connection feels real. Quick thrills bore them. They want eye contact, breath syncing, a sense that time has stopped and no one else exists. In their world, good sex is not about performance, it's about presence. Their preferences are complex and often shift over time. In youth, they may experiment more, trying to balance the horse's impulsive streak with Capricorn's tendency to control. As they mature, their sexuality becomes more refined, intentional, and spiritually charged. They begin to view sex not just as a source of pleasure, but as a language, a way to communicate trust, admiration, and deep emotional understanding. They're the kind of lovers who will take you to physical heights you've never experienced, then hold you in complete silence, anchoring your soul as your body returns to earth. For them, seduction begins in the mind. Intellectual foreplay is their favorite appetizer. They're turned on by stimulating conversations, subtle glances, emotional intelligence. They want to feel desired and respected. They want to know you see beyond their surface. If you can get into their mind, you've already unlocked half their body. The other half? That's earned through presence, patience, and passion that doesn't ask, it listens. They have fantasies, too, often elaborate, sometimes surprising. But they don't reveal them easily. You'll need to prove you're capable of handling not just their desires, but their fears, their hesitations, and their trust issues. When they open up, their sensuality is raw, tender, and, at times, overwhelming in its intensity. You'll never feel like it's routine. Every encounter with them is different, because it evolves with your bond. In short, Capricorn horses don't just crave sexual satisfaction, they crave transformation. They want to be undone, to undo you, to meet in that private, sacred space where ego drops and souls speak. They are not the loudest lovers in the room, but they are some of the deepest. To touch them is to be challenged. To sleep with them is to be changed. And to truly connect with them? That's a journey many begin, but few complete. Marriage, the kingdom builder. When a Capricorn horse decides to commit, it's not because they've been swept away by fantasy or seduced by fleeting passion. It's because they've made a conscious, strategic decision to build a life with someone. And when they build, they don't think small. They approach marriage the way a master architect approaches a fortress, with blueprints, long-term goals, and an unshakable vision of legacy. For them, marriage isn't an emotional escape, it's a mutual mission. A kingdom, not a honeymoon. They're not looking for a fairy tale, they're looking for a co-founder of the empire. In their view, romantic commitment must be rooted in purpose. Love is vital, but it's not enough on its own. They need alignment, in values, in vision, in work ethic. They want a partner in crime, someone who's willing to work late nights, make long-term sacrifices, and match their intensity without flinching. They are drawn to people who are driven, emotionally stable, and fiercely independent. A Capricorn horse doesn't want to be your rescuer or your savior. They want to rise with you, not above you. This is why they often marry later in life or after serious internal deliberation. They don't rush, and they don't gamble on love. They want to be sure, not just that you love them, but that you can build with them. They'll watch how you handle pressure, how you manage your money, how you deal with conflict. They look for signs of discipline, strength, and emotional maturity. If they sense flakiness, irresponsibility, or neediness, they'll withdraw, even if the chemistry is off the charts. Because to them, marriage isn't about avoiding loneliness, it's about creating a dynasty. Once committed, they become incredibly protective and invested. Their loyalty is intense, bordering on sacred. They will work tirelessly to provide both emotional and material stability. They want their spouse to feel safe, not just from the world, but from uncertainty itself. They may not be overly romantic in public displays, but they'll show their love in practical ways: financial planning, building a home, solving problems before you even know they exist. They are the spouse who remembers the details, anticipates your needs, and is always thinking 10 steps ahead. But this level of intensity comes with expectations. The Capricorn horse loathes stagnation, not just in themselves, but in their partner. If you stop growing, they'll notice. If you lose ambition, they'll worry. If you become emotionally chaotic, they'll begin to detach. It's not because they don't care, it's because they need a partner who can stand beside them through every season of life. One who evolves. One who doesn't just dream, but executes. They can forgive mistakes, but they struggle with mediocrity and emotional dependency. They also need their independence, even in marriage. They're not the type to text 24/7 or require constant reassurance. They value alone time, their personal projects, and intellectual freedom. A partner who tries to cage them or control their schedule will quickly lose their trust. But a partner who respects their independence while remaining emotionally available will earn a bond that deepens every year. Emotionally, they can be complex. They might struggle to express their feelings in the moment, especially during conflict. They may retreat into silence, process internally, and return with solutions rather than emotional vulnerability. But don't mistake their quiet for coldness. Underneath their composed demeanor is a heart that burns with devotion. They just express it through consistency, protection, and unwavering support, not poetic declarations. In terms of family, they are deeply committed. If children are part of the picture, they'll take their role as a parent seriously, often instilling discipline, strong values, and a sense of responsibility. They may have high expectations, but they will give everything to ensure their family is secure, educated, and equipped to succeed. They don't just want to raise kids, they want to raise leaders. Ultimately, marriage to a Capricorn horse is a powerful experience, but it's not for everyone. It requires stamina, honesty, and vision. You can't coast with them. You can't fake growth. You must be willing to match their pace, speak their language of loyalty, and endure the challenges that come with building something lasting. But if you do, you'll gain a life partner who will stand with you through every storm, celebrate every victory, and never, ever quit on you, no matter what. Give them loyalty, ambition, mutual respect, and authentic love, and they'll build not just a life with you, but a legacy that lasts. Marriage, for them, is not a chapter. It's the entire epic. Friendship. Selective but fierce. Capricorn horses don't collect friends like souvenirs, they choose them like investments. Carefully, intentionally. Their social circle is not built on popularity or convenience but on genuine connection, tested loyalty, and shared values. They don't crave attention from the crowd. They crave substance, dependability, and the kind of trust that only time can prove. To them, friendship isn't casual. It's a sacred alliance, a bond that, once formed, is deeply respected and fiercely protected, but never handed out freely. They are naturally charismatic and socially agile, thanks to the energetic and personable horse influence. They know how to hold a room, how to spark a conversation, and how to make people feel seen. But there's a gap between how many people know of them and how many actually know them. That gap is no accident, it's a boundary. Capricorn horses keep their private lives guarded, their true emotions buried under layers of stoic calm and sharp wit. They can attend every party, dominate every discussion, and still feel like a mystery to most people in the room. Getting close to a Capricorn horse takes time. A lot of it. They watch people closely, not out of paranoia, but self-protection. They've likely been burned before, and they never forget a betrayal. If you want to be counted as one of their true friends, you'll need to pass a silent series of tests. Are you consistent? Do you show up when it matters, or only when it's convenient? Can you keep a secret? Can you handle hard truths without getting defensive? Can you support their dreams without making it about you? Drama, gossip, flakiness, these are instant disqualifiers in their book. But here's the magic. Once you've earned their trust, you gain access to one of the most devoted, empowering friendships of your life. A Capricorn horse friend is a rare gift. They show up not just for the fun, but for the battles. They'll help you move across the country, stay up all night talking through a crisis, or call out your self-sabotage without blinking. They are loyal, even when it's uncomfortable. Honest, even when it hurts. And supportive in a way that makes you feel stronger just by standing next to them. They're also fiercely protective. If someone hurts you, disrespects you, or tries to diminish your worth, the Capricorn horse won't stay silent. They may not always react loudly, but they will act decisively. You'll never have to question whose side they're on. They will challenge you, yes, because they want to see you grow. But they'll also defend you like family. They love watching their friends succeed, and will often help from behind the scenes, offering connections, opportunities, or tough love when needed. However, their standards don't disappear once you're in their inner circle. The relationship must continue to evolve. They don't tolerate stagnation in friendship any more than they do in romance. If a friend begins to take them for granted, bring constant negativity, or drift into emotional irresponsibility, the Capricorn horse won't always confront it directly. Instead, they'll start to withdraw, slowly, subtly, but with finality. And when they leave, they rarely look back. One of the most misunderstood traits of the Capricorn horse is their capacity to sever ties. Many assume that their loyalty means permanence, but that's only true as long as the relationship remains rooted in mutual respect. They are not loyal to people, they are loyal to values. If a friend betrays their trust, manipulates them, or repeatedly disrespects boundaries, they will cut that bond without a second thought. No drama, no explosion, just silence, the kind that speaks volumes. Despite their guarded nature, they often have a small group of deeply trusted friends who know the full spectrum of who they are. These friends get to see the playful side of the horse, the goofiness, the spontaneous road trips, the endless jokes. They also get the warm, earthy comfort of Capricorn, the grounding advice, the steady support, the reliable presence. When they let you in, you're not just a friend, you're chosen family. In the end, being friends with a Capricorn horse is not for the flaky or the faint-hearted. It requires patience, emotional intelligence, and a genuine commitment to authenticity. But if you make it past the gates, you'll find one of the fiercest, most loyal allies imaginable. Someone who sees your potential even when you don't. Someone who pushes you to be better. Someone who will fight for you, stand with you, and, when the world feels like too much, remind you who the hell you are. With them, friendship isn't just a connection, it's a covenant. Business. Born to dominate. Here's where the Capricorn horse truly shines. The world of business is their natural battlefield, and they enter it not to compete, but to conquer. They don't just want a seat at the table, they want to own the building the table is in. With the grounded, methodical nature of Capricorn fused with the bold, high-energy fire of the horse, this individual becomes an unstoppable force in any competitive arena. Ambition is their heartbeat, vision is their compass, and discipline is their secret weapon. The Capricorn side brings a serious edge, the ability to think long-term, delay gratification, and construct highly structured plans that stretch across years. This is the part of them that studies market trends at midnight and rewrites business plans while others are watching Netflix. They don't rely on luck. They build systems. They thrive on metrics. They want data to back up every instinct. But then there's the horse, the wild card. The horse adds speed, charisma, and risk tolerance. It pushes them to leap where others hesitate. It keeps them flexible, intuitive, and sharp in high-pressure situations. They're the ones who pivot mid-project and still land on top. They dream big, move fast, and don't apologize for it. Together, this combination creates a natural-born leader. They aren't built to take orders. They detest bureaucracy, inefficiency, and micromanagement. Capricorn horses need room to innovate, to execute, to lead. Give them too many rules or too little trust, and they'll walk straight into a role where they can run the show themselves. They often thrive in entrepreneurship, C-suite leadership, venture capital, design firms, innovation labs, or any high-stakes field where being self-directed is rewarded. They are at their best when building something from nothing, whether that's a product, a team, a brand, or an entire company. They're not afraid of long hours. In fact, they often prefer them. The grind doesn't intimidate them, it excites them. They'll work 16-hour days if the mission is meaningful. But their definition of success isn't purely financial. Sure, they want to be wealthy, but more importantly, they want to be known. They want to influence, to leave a mark. They want their name to stand for something. A Capricorn horse doesn't build just for profit, they build for legacy. They want their great-grandchildren to point to their portrait and say, "That's where it started." They also know how to make money work for them. Capricorn horses are savvy investors and resource allocators. They're not easily swayed by hype or trendy ideas. They ask the right questions. They research deeply. They're willing to take big risks, but never without a strategy. And their instincts are eerily good, especially in negotiation. Despite their sometimes serious demeanor, they have a strong intuitive sense for people, which helps them close deals, recruit talent, and network with precision. People listen when they speak, not because they shout, but because their confidence is quiet, grounded, and undeniably earned. But here's what really sets them apart: consistency. In a world of burnout and short attention spans, the Capricorn horse is a steady climber. They're not looking for the overnight success. They'll build brick by brick, campaign by campaign, year by year, until their vision becomes reality. They don't just dream, they execute. Relentlessly. That's why they often rise to the top in whatever field they pursue. Even when they're underestimated early on, they're often the last ones standing when the dust settles. However, they're not without their challenges. Their intense work ethic can lead to tunnel vision. They may overwork, ignore emotional needs, or neglect personal relationships in the pursuit of career dominance. And because they don't often ask for help, they can burn out silently, pushing themselves far past healthy limits. Their challenge is to learn balance, to remember that true success includes well-being, not just accomplishment. When they learn to delegate, to pause, to enjoy the life they're building, that's when they become truly unstoppable. In business, the Capricorn horse is the ultimate builder, not of castles in the sky, but of skyscrapers in the real world. With vision in their mind, fire in their heart, and steel in their spine, they move through the professional world like they were born to own it. Because in many ways, they were. Every move is part of a larger strategy. Every risk is calculated. Every win is earned. They don't chase approval. They chase impact. Give them the tools, the space, and the trust, and they'll build an empire that doesn't just survive the storm, it creates the weather. Dark sides, the iceberg beneath the surface. Now let's talk shadows, because the Capricorn horse has them, and they run deep. Beneath their polished exterior and confident presence lies an intense inner world where control is king, vulnerability is feared, and self-worth is often tied too tightly to performance. They are masters of appearances, but even the strongest walls eventually crack. To truly understand a Capricorn horse, you must understand the weight they carry and the battles they often fight in silence. One word defines much of their shadow nature: control. Control over their time, their environment, their emotional responses, and sometimes, the people closest to them. It stems not from a desire to dominate others, but from a deep fear of chaos. The Capricorn side craves structure, predictability, and accountability. The horse, however, is impulsive, emotionally raw, and driven by passion. This creates internal conflict, a tug-of-war between needing freedom and needing order. When life spins out of their grasp, even slightly, they can become rigid, overly controlling, or emotionally distant in an attempt to restore balance. Emotionally, they often struggle to sit with vulnerability. They fear being seen as weak, needy, or out of control. Instead of expressing hurt, they often armor themselves with sarcasm, silence, or overwork. That charming, witty, often magnetic presence they show the world? It's real, but it can also be a mask. Behind it may be wounds from past betrayals, childhood pressure to perform, or a lifelong internal voice saying, "Not good enough." They don't let people in easily because they fear what might happen if someone sees the cracks. And if they do let you in and you betray that trust? They may never forgive it, even if they tell you they have. They don't forget. Capricorn horses have long memories, especially when it comes to emotional injuries. They may smile and carry on as if everything's fine, but they log every slight, every disloyal act, every broken promise. It's not pettiness, it's self-preservation. And once a person is deemed untrustworthy, they often cut them off emotionally. Not with drama or explosions, but with cool indifference. A locked door, a missing presence. And unlike other signs who might reopen that door over time, the Capricorn horse is rarely sentimental about endings. When they're done, they're done. Another shadow that haunts them is burnout. The combination of Capricorn's relentless drive and the horse's restless energy makes them workhorses, literally. They push, and push, and push. They say yes to every opportunity. They take on more than they should. They tie their identity to being the best, the strongest, the most dependable. But under the surface, the pressure builds. Eventually, the tank empties. And when they crash hard. They may isolate, spiral into obsessive overthinking, lash out at themselves, or fall into deep emotional funks they struggle to explain. In these dark moments, self-sabotage becomes a quiet predator. They may abandon projects they once loved, cut off people they care about, convince themselves they're failing, even when they're thriving. It's not rational, it's emotional fatigue. And because they don't like asking for help, they often suffer in silence, believing no one else could possibly understand the weight they carry. To the outside world, everything looks fine. Inside, they're drowning in expectations, both external and self-imposed. Perfectionism is another hidden trap. Capricorn horses often set impossible standards for themselves. They believe that being good isn't good enough, they need to be exceptional. But this belief system leaves no room for mistakes, softness, or rest. When they fall short, as all humans inevitably do, they internalize it as failure. The inner critic becomes brutal. And instead of showing themselves compassion, they may double down, working even harder, isolating even more, until they burn out again. The real challenge for the Capricorn horse is surrender. Letting go of the illusion of control. Allowing others to help. Admitting they're tired or scared without shame. Understanding that being human is not a flaw, it's a fact. They must learn that their worth isn't tied to productivity or perfection. That love doesn't require a performance. That loyalty doesn't have to be earned through sacrifice alone. And most importantly, that being enough isn't something to achieve. It's something to accept. But here's the hopeful truth. When they do the inner work, when they face their shadows, when they learn to soften, they become unstoppable in a different way. Not because they're armored, but because they're whole. The same qualities that create their shadows, ambition, intensity, discipline, can also be transformed into wisdom, empathy, and resilience. They just need to remember, even the strongest empire needs light behind its walls. Even the fiercest warhorse needs rest. And even the most composed soul deserves the freedom to fall apart, and be loved anyway. Life goals. Legacy over luxury. More than anything, the Capricorn horse wants to leave a mark, a lasting, undeniable imprint not just on paper, profit sheets, or accolades, but on people, on culture, and on history. They are legacy-driven to their core. It's not enough for them to live well, they want to live meaningfully. They want to build, shape, and inspire something that outlives them. something that continues to speak their name long after they've stopped saying it themselves. While others chase comfort, they chase significance. Contrary to surface assumptions, they are not fueled by egoistic fame or hollow luxury, though they won't reject the rewards of their work when they arrive. They enjoy fine things, yes, but what moves them on a soul level is the pursuit of impact. They want to be remembered not just as someone who succeeded, but as someone who mattered. Someone who created, changed, influenced, protected, or uplifted something bigger than themselves. Their heart is not in the spotlight, it's in the architecture of something enduring. A business that reinvents its industry. A family raised on purpose and principle. A foundation that funds change. A book that still gets quoted a century later. Their soul craves permanence in a world obsessed with temporary applause. This deep purpose is rooted in their cosmic wiring, earth from Capricorn and fire from the horse. Capricorn brings practicality, patience, and long-term vision. They see the value of steady progress, one step at a time, building upward with discipline and careful calculation. The horse adds speed, passion, and visionary fire. It keeps them from becoming too rigid or too slow. This rare combination gives them the ability to be both the dreamer and the executor, someone who not only imagines the impossible, but has the guts and stamina to make it real. They don't fantasize about mountaintops, they plan their ascent. They understand setbacks are part of the journey. They don't mind getting their hands dirty. They'll take every hit, every late night, every hard decision if it brings them closer to their ultimate vision. Their success is rarely accidental, it's built through consistency, strategy, and relentless self-discipline. They set high standards not only for the world around them, but especially for themselves. And while this may sometimes feel isolating, they believe it's the only way to reach the heights they're meant for. Their goals are rarely static. As they mature, their ambitions deepen. In youth, they might chase prestige, performance, or material validation, but over time, those desires evolve. They begin to shift their focus from what they're building to why. They seek meaning behind their motion. They become more interested in legacy than luxury, more interested in people than optics. They start mentoring, teaching, leading with empathy. They step into their role not just as creators of success, but as carriers of wisdom. And yet, they're not immune to burnout or emptiness. If they chase only goals without nurturing their emotional world, they can find themselves achieving everything and still feeling like something's missing. That's when the Capricorn horse is forced to evolve internally, to realize that legacy isn't just what you leave behind. It's also how you live right now, how you treat people, how present you are, how open your heart remains, even as you climb. This is their ultimate challenge, balancing the need for greatness with the truth of humanity. Their truest goal, beneath it all, is freedom. But not freedom in the escapist sense. Not a fantasy of tropical islands or dropping out of the system. The Capricorn horse seeks earned freedom, the kind that comes from hard-won self-mastery. They want to look in the mirror and see someone who has conquered not just markets, but inner fears. Not just rivals, but their own self-doubt. They want to rise above the pain of their past, the limitations of their upbringing, the voices that said they couldn't, and prove them all wrong. Not out of bitterness, but out of evolution. This kind of freedom isn't given. It's built. Through discipline, through healing, through unflinching honesty with oneself. The Capricorn horse doesn't want to be dependent on anyone, emotionally, financially, spiritually. They want to become so strong, so self-actualized, that no circumstance can unseat them. That's the ultimate legacy to them, not just what they leave behind, but who they became along the way. When they get it right, they leave behind more than wealth or reputation. They leave behind energy, a story, a structure, a standard. They become the person others refer to when they say, "That's who showed me what was possible." And there is no greater reward for a Capricorn horse than to know they didn't just exist, they transformed. That they took the raw materials of life and forged something timeless. Their life is a blueprint. Their mission is to build. Their reward is legacy. Luxury might follow, but legacy is always the point. In summary, Capricorn horses are walking paradoxes, a rare fusion of opposites that somehow makes perfect sense. They are fiercely independent, yet when they love, they do so with bone-deep loyalty that rarely fades. They carry themselves with a quiet self-assurance that borders on mystery, yet people are inevitably drawn to them. Their presence is magnetic, their silence often louder than words. They're grounded in reality, able to build empires brick by brick, but fueled by a fire that pushes them toward risks, revolutions, and reinventions. They don't just live, they ignite. Not loudly, but unforgettably. To know a Capricorn horse is to know someone who operates by their own code, someone who won't follow the crowd, because the crowd has never been their destination. They may be slow to open up, hard to pin down, and even harder to read, but if they choose to let you into their world, you've found something rare. They are the type of person who will challenge you to rise, love you through action rather than words, and stand beside you with an unshakable calm when the world feels chaotic. Their loyalty is not performative, it's earned, and once earned, it's ironclad. If you are a Capricorn horse, understand this: you were never meant to blend in. You weren't born to be average, to play small, or to live according to someone else's blueprint. You were made to lead. And not just in the boardroom or on a stage, but in the quiet, profound way that changes lives, sets new standards, and redefines what it means to live with purpose. You carry both the strategy of the mountain goat and the spirit of the wild horse, and that duality is your power. Don't fight it, own it. You are here to build legacies, not just careers. To forge unbreakable bonds, not just collect acquaintances. To experience love with intensity, depth, and loyalty most people can't even imagine. To take your pain and turn it into wisdom. To face the pressure and become the diamond. You are the quiet architect of transformation, in your own life and in the lives of others lucky enough to stand in your orbit. So if the world doesn't always get you, let it be. If they underestimate you, good. That gives you the space to rise on your own terms, at your own pace. You're not in a race, you're on a mission. And every step you take is leading you toward something greater than comfort, it's leading you toward legacy. If you know a Capricorn horse, protect that relationship. Don't take their loyalty for granted. Don't push their boundaries or play with their trust. Show up, be real, match their consistency with your own. Because once they consider you part of their inner world, you've gained a lifelong ally, someone who will push you, fight for you, and believe in your strength even when you don't. Capricorn horses don't need applause to know their worth. But they do need purpose. Give them that, and they'll move mountains, not for glory, but because they can. Want to learn more about your personality, how to leverage it in love, career, and even which AI tools align with your zodiac type? Hit that like button, subscribe for more in-depth videos just like this, and don't forget to check the links in the description for exclusive bonus content. Until next time, keep climbing. Your mountain is waiting.